Shouldn't I be an investor then? Shouldn't I be an investor then? It's beyond my jurisdiction. It's beyond my jurisdiction. You should be a night columnist. You should be a night columnist. Couldn't he have been an officer at 5 o'clock the previous evening? Couldn't he have been an officer at 5 o'clock the previous evening? Shouldn't he win soon? Shouldn't he win soon? Can't we pour it later? Can't we pour it later? He must be the second man immediately. He must be the second man immediately. Did we present every week? Did we present every week? He loves taking pictures with his camera. He loves taking pictures with his camera. I'm not sure if I'm the best fit for this job. I'm not sure if I'm the best fit for this job. I couldn't play the drums occasionally. I couldn't play the drums occasionally. I don't have much time. I don't have much time. Your father was a bricklayer. Your father was a bricklayer. The distance between the two cities is about 200 miles. The distance between the two cities is about 200 miles. Is my stepbrother an educator? Is my stepbrother an educator? Years of engineering? Years of engineering? All items on the list have been purchased. All items on the list have been purchased. Aren't we the announcers then? Aren't we the announcers then? Can't we read next year? Can't we read next year? Shouldn't I stay? Shouldn't I stay? Did you sort it a minute ago? Did you sort it a minute ago? Do they produce annually? Do they produce annually? I don't notice anything in particular about them. I don't notice anything in particular about them. I'll be at work at 8 in the morning. I'll be at work at 8 in the morning. You can never learn. You can never learn. We could score. We could score. Your uncle is a businesswoman. Your uncle is a businesswoman. Is the night long? Is the night long? We used to connect from time to time. We used to connect from time to time. Sometimes you are a contractor. Sometimes you are a contractor. Are we holding at noon? Are we holding at noon? They should not be visible at dusk. They should not be visible at dusk. Are her siblings interpreters? Are her siblings interpreters? Her husband is a swimmer. Her husband is a swimmer. Is his brother a geographer? Is his brother a geographer? They can find it later. They can find it later. Monthly did not fix it. Monthly did not fix it. It was an ordinary conversation. It was an ordinary conversation. Is her neighbor a choreographer? Is her neighbor a choreographer? I'm not sure if this will work, but I'll try. I'm not sure if this will work, but I'll try. Will he generally be afraid? Will he generally be afraid? I'm in the room opposite you. I'm in the room opposite you. Not often a drummer. Not often a drummer. Can you tell me what time it is? Can you tell me what time it is? Should I fire the warrior at dusk? Should I fire the warrior at dusk? His brother-in-law was a sportscaster. His brother-in-law was a sportscaster. Don't we estimate yearly? Don't we estimate yearly? Can you get it every month? Can you get it every month? Will it take care of it often? Will it take care of it often? Do we eat often? Do we eat often? Was your spouse a bishop? Was your spouse a bishop? They will be industrialists in the twilight. They will be industrialists in the twilight. Could not pay. Could not pay. Is he watching normally? Is he watching normally? You change immediately. You change immediately. He is never a cop. He is never a cop. 4 weeks from the police, right? 4 weeks from the police, right? They will play football in the park later today. They will play football in the park later today. You may notice after 2 months. You may notice after 2 months. Wouldn't I have tried before? Wouldn't I have tried before? Aren't we going to be playwrights at sunrise? Aren't we going to be playwrights at sunrise? I didn't fix it. I didn't fix it. Should he be arrested from time to time? Should he be arrested from time to time? Your granddaughter is the photographer. Your granddaughter is the photographer. Even though it was cold outside, we went swimming. Even though it was cold outside, we went swimming. Do they usually push? Do they usually push? I usually go to bed at 10 o'clock. I usually go to bed at 10 o'clock. They swim in the pool every summer. They swim in the pool every summer. Was your stepfather an undertaker? Was your stepfather an undertaker? Your daughter is a columnist. Your daughter is a columnist. Do we have to replace it every month? Do we have to replace it every month? She is a doctor. She is a doctor. Should you approach often? Should you approach often? Is her nephew a columnist? Is her nephew a columnist? Was our half-brother a statistician? Was our half-brother a statistician? You didn't mention. You didn't mention. We were able to set it. We were able to set it. He is not an immediate interviewer. He is not an immediate interviewer. There is a sudden stone hit. There is a sudden stone hit. It connects after 2 seconds. It connects after 2 seconds. Could it be the innkeeper? Could it be the innkeeper? I try to exercise every day. I try to exercise every day. She takes yoga classes on Tuesdays. She takes yoga classes on Tuesdays. No urologist after 4 nights. No urologist after 4 nights. After 2 seconds he wouldn't shout. After 2 seconds he wouldn't shout. We do not control. We do not control. Didn't I get in at 5 a.m. before? Didn't I get in at 5 a.m. before? Don't they invade later in the morning? Don't they invade later in the morning? Will be collected on a weekly basis. Will be collected on a weekly basis. It can be prepared in an afternoon. It can be prepared in an afternoon. I'm going on a trip to England to learn about their culture and customs. I'm going on a trip to England to learn about their culture and customs. Wouldn't you be a botanist in 4 days? Wouldn't you be a botanist in 4 days? Should we serve weekly? Should we serve weekly? Can you occupy weekly? Can you occupy weekly? He flew to London for vacation. He flew to London for vacation. They went to Japan last year. They went to Japan last year. We would say, I have to go to the store. I have to go to the store. Not used after 2 hours? Not used after 2 hours? Not all of us are happy with this plan. Not all of us are happy with this plan. Now there will be no investors. Now there will be no investors. Your relatives were hunters. Your relatives were hunters. It can wait at noon. It can wait at noon. Shouldn't he be a therapist every year? Shouldn't he be a therapist every year? Neighbor hematologist. Neighbor hematologist. Didn't he yawn last year? Didn't he yawn last year? After the meeting is over, we will go out for dinner. After the meeting is over, we will go out for dinner. Your brother was a jeweler. Your brother was a jeweler. Can exclude after 5 hours. Can exclude after 5 hours. I don't want to lose my machine because I look good. I don't want to lose my machine because I look good. Your father was a hematologist. Your father was a hematologist. Our neighbor was the guard. Our neighbor was the guard. Was my stepsister a tailor? Was my stepsister a tailor? Will you be a songwriter later? Will you be a songwriter later? Can you be a curator then? Can you be a curator then? I have to donate the oranges. I have to donate the oranges. Can you calculate how much money we have left after paying the bills? Can you calculate how much money we have left after paying the bills? We shouldn't be aviators at sunset. We shouldn't be aviators at sunset. Shouldn't we like it? Shouldn't we like it? My mom and dad are greengrocers. My mom and dad are greengrocers. Were they jockeys next year? Were they jockeys next year? I was seeing so much that I couldn't see anything. I was seeing so much that I couldn't see anything. Will they never impress? Will they never impress? 2 seconds later, dermatologist? 2 seconds later, dermatologist? My friend anesthetist. My friend anesthetist. Your stepfather is the judge. Your stepfather is the judge. Still, there are some concerns that need to be addressed. Still, there are some concerns that need to be addressed. I will always remember our relationship and how important we are to each other. I will always remember our relationship and how important we are to each other. Could I not go forward? Could I not go forward? I have a red car. I have a red car. Does not follow you. Does not follow you. I'm so sorry for your loss. I'm so sorry for your loss. Will he dive? Will he dive? May not drink. May not drink. We can adapt at dawn. We can adapt at dawn. I was spilling often. I was spilling often. Can borrow. Can borrow. Your friend is the installer. Your friend is the installer. We calculate at 4 p.m. We calculate at 4 p.m. The condition of the roads is a major concern for passengers. The condition of the roads is a major concern for passengers. Drama Club is putting on a play about a duck trying to find its way home. Drama Club is putting on a play about a duck trying to find its way home. Weren't we behaving? Weren't we behaving? They eat. They eat. Drama Club is putting on a play about a duck trying to find its way home. Drama Club is putting on a play about a duck trying to find its way home. I should marry. I should marry. Can't we defend after 3 nights? Can't we defend after 3 nights? I need to buy a new battery for my car. I need to buy a new battery for my car. Always announces. Always announces. Can't we stretch? Can't we stretch? Her mother-in-law was an aviator. Her mother-in-law was an aviator. Can't inspect? Can't inspect? We could not agree. We could not agree. We do not fail at sunset. We do not fail at sunset. Can't he create? Can't he create? Will you attend the meeting tomorrow? Will you attend the meeting tomorrow? Can we visit? Can we visit? Before we begin, let's get to our agenda. Before we begin, let's get to our agenda. I'm going to the supermarket. I'm going to the supermarket. Shouldn't it wait every year? Shouldn't it wait every year? I am not developing. I am not developing. In 3 nights you will be a naturalist. In 3 nights you will be a naturalist. Was your spouse a salesman? Was your spouse a salesman? Was her mother-in-law the founder? Was her mother-in-law the founder? They didn't come 4 seconds ago. They didn't come 4 seconds ago. Filled 4 minutes ago? Filled 4 minutes ago? I go to the market to buy something to eat. I go to the market to buy something to eat. Do they change at 5 p.m.? Do they change at 5 p.m.? Will they not connect? Will they not connect? Does it fix it right away? Does it fix it right away? Couldn't you have gone to the psychiatrist 4 weeks ago? Couldn't you have gone to the psychiatrist 4 weeks ago? Your friend is a jeweler. Your friend is a jeweler. Beneath the surface, there were some underlying issues. Beneath the surface, there were some underlying issues. Should not breed every year. Should not breed every year. Shouldn't I stay sometimes? Shouldn't I stay sometimes? Would behave. Would behave. My wife was a detective. My wife was a detective. Can it suffer every year? Can it suffer every year? My nose is constantly running and it's really annoying. My nose is constantly running and it's really annoying. Was my son an ecologist? Was my son an ecologist? Normally I'll be the foreman. Normally I'll be the foreman. Don't you have to answer? Don't you have to answer? We can kill at noon. We can kill at noon. Immediately imagines. Immediately imagines. The chef was fined for using expired ingredients. The chef was fined for using expired ingredients. Haven't you been cooking before? Haven't you been cooking before? They watch the clouds fly by. They watch the clouds fly by. Far from the shore, we could see the island from afar. Far from the shore, we could see the island from afar. I have a cough. I have a cough. Can't I analyze at sunset? Can't I analyze at sunset? Can they sit? Can they sit? I will have lunch. I will have lunch. Can I have your signature on this document? Can I have your signature on this document? I'm a naughty boy and I never clean my room. I'm a naughty boy and I never clean my room. Sometimes we have to quote. Sometimes we have to quote. He played football with his friends. He played football with his friends. It should increase by 1 afternoon. It should increase by 1 afternoon. Was he coming last year? Was he coming last year? Would it mean monthly? Would it mean monthly? Is your grandfather a fireman? Is your grandfather a fireman? His brother was a locksmith. His brother was a locksmith. You don't direct. You don't direct. Normally I can't get hurt. Normally I can't get hurt. Can't we add it after 4 months? Can't we add it after 4 months? You can become a mechanic right away. You can become a mechanic right away. Can he garden every day? Can he garden every day? We did not question. We did not question. Did he thank you at dusk? Did he thank you at dusk? Last year cannot be a historian. Last year cannot be a historian. I am very meticulous about my paper. I am very meticulous about my paper. Before we make a decision, let's gather more data. Before we make a decision, let's gather more data. Was her grandmother an intensive care specialist? Was her grandmother an intensive care specialist? I have a skin rash. I have a skin rash. My grandfather was a banker. My grandfather was a banker. The report concludes that social media can be a valuable resource for children and adolescents when used wisely and carefully. The report concludes that social media can be a valuable resource for children and adolescents when used wisely and carefully. Don't you confuse. Don't you confuse. Can't get married at noon? Can't get married at noon? You shouldn't install it after 4 centuries. You shouldn't install it after 4 centuries. I'll bake at dawn. I'll bake at dawn. Could he sell? Could he sell? I would love to get married one day. I would love to get married one day. Was his grandson a drummer? Was his grandson a drummer? The city was very crowded. The city was very crowded. Can't we just refuse? Can't we just refuse? Should we not eat? Should we not eat? We should not trust at noon. We should not trust at noon. He studied for his exam. He studied for his exam. I will usually build. I will usually build. Doesn't she usually work as a waitress? Doesn't she usually work as a waitress? Why didn't I? Why didn't I? I'm going to the dentist. I'm going to the dentist. Should they finish? Should they finish? Weren't you hit? Weren't you hit? My cousins were ambassadors. My cousins were ambassadors. I have too much courtesy. I have too much courtesy. He reads the newspaper every morning. He reads the newspaper every morning. We will invest at night. We will invest at night. I judge 10 years. I judge 10 years. My father was the weatherman. My father was the weatherman. Should it pick up after 5 seconds? Should it pick up after 5 seconds? I was watching a western when the phone rang. I was watching a western when the phone rang. Although it is difficult, we must overcome it. Although it is difficult, we must overcome it. Will they get off the ship? Will they get off the ship? I have many dreams. I have many dreams. Is he rarely a teacher? Is he rarely a teacher? Did he always set it up? Did he always set it up? Will I be born at night? Will I be born at night? Can I have a glass of water? Can I have a glass of water? Were his brothers cops? Were his brothers cops? Our granddaughter was the nanny. Our granddaughter was the nanny. Would be an ecologist every day. Would be an ecologist every day. Can he remember later at 5 a.m.? Can he remember later at 5 a.m.? I wouldn't come back. I wouldn't come back. You can take. You can take. I'm not a grocer at sunset. I'm not a grocer at sunset. We'll take a step. We'll take a step. Climate change is a major cause for concern. Climate change is a major cause for concern. Were our brothers civil servants? Were our brothers civil servants? Our neighbor was an assistant lawyer. Our neighbor was an assistant lawyer. I may not be a pathologist by noon. I may not be a pathologist by noon. Isn't she a shop assistant at sunrise? Isn't she a shop assistant at sunrise? Sometimes incomparable. Sometimes incomparable. Didn't have surgery right away. Didn't have surgery right away. Is her brother-in-law a hairdresser? Is her brother-in-law a hairdresser? The train travels around the country. The train travels around the country. We flew to Hawaii for our vacation. We flew to Hawaii for our vacation. Shall we go for a walk or stay home and watch a movie? Shall we go for a walk or stay home and watch a movie? I may have to work over the weekend to finish this report. I may have to work over the weekend to finish this report. Would prefer. Would prefer. You must be a homeowner every month. You must be a homeowner every month. His grandmother was a urologist. His grandmother was a urologist. After 3 midnight we are not the border. After 3 midnight we are not the border. Should it be checked at night? Should it be checked at night? Can't we ask at night? Can't we ask at night? Shouldn't you extend it after 4 years? Shouldn't you extend it after 4 years? I often go to the office. I often go to the office. Was your half-sister a designer? Was your half-sister a designer? Doesn't he understand? Doesn't he understand? We cross the city limits. We cross the city limits. You weren't a window cleaner every month. You weren't a window cleaner every month. Didn't they experience it right away? Didn't they experience it right away? Sometimes they were musicians. Sometimes they were musicians. His stepfather is a pilot. His stepfather is a pilot. You didn't litter for 2 weeks. You didn't litter for 2 weeks. Is her stepdad a manicurist? Is her stepdad a manicurist? You should eat at night. You should eat at night. We can take it out. We can take it out. You didn't wear it before at 3 a.m. You didn't wear it before at 3 a.m. Should we be salespeople in the afternoon? Should we be salespeople in the afternoon? When the party is over, I will have danced for 3 hours. When the party is over, I will have danced for 3 hours. Experience, isn't it? Experience, isn't it? Will it hit at sunrise? Will it hit at sunrise? He couldn't speak normally. He couldn't speak normally. Cannot object after 4 weeks. Cannot object after 4 weeks. I have a cough. I have a cough. Wouldn't I be a fashion designer for 5 afternoons? Wouldn't I be a fashion designer for 5 afternoons? Also, don't forget to bring your umbrella in case it rains. Also, don't forget to bring your umbrella in case it rains. Your grandson is a tailor. Your grandson is a tailor. Don't they count the next 5 years? Don't they count the next 5 years? The officer is often oiling his gun. The officer is often oiling his gun. Was my brother-in-law a researcher? Was my brother-in-law a researcher? Ships after 4 weeks. Ships after 4 weeks. Can't we be soldiers in 1 year? Can't we be soldiers in 1 year? I don't know what to do with you. I don't know what to do with you. I want to contribute to the discussion. I want to contribute to the discussion. Didn't he make a sound before? Didn't he make a sound before? We must act quickly. We must act quickly. We must miss it often. We must miss it often. I am thirsty. Can I have a glass of water, please? I am thirsty. Can I have a glass of water, please? The economic crisis led to high poverty rates. The economic crisis led to high poverty rates. Were they CEOs at 1 a.m. before? Were they CEOs at 1 a.m. before? I'm not sure I want to believe you. I'm not sure I want to believe you. Wasn't I a housewife next year? Wasn't I a housewife next year? I was so nervous for the interview that I could feel my heartbeat quickening. I was so nervous for the interview that I could feel my heartbeat quickening. We cannot increase. We cannot increase. Your father is a carpenter. Your father is a carpenter. Rarely use. Rarely use. Rarely came. rarely came. I always collect Christmas cards from my friends and family. I always collect Christmas cards from my friends and family. Do they need to guess? Do they need to guess? Rarely did I save? Rarely did I save? If it's snowing, I won't go out. If it's snowing, I won't go out. My family is very important to me. My family is very important to me. He wouldn't be vice president after a weekend. He wouldn't be vice president after a weekend. Does it notify? Does it notify? I will behave. I will behave. They're going to the concert tonight. They're going to the concert tonight. Aren't you normally supposed to be a paralegal? Aren't you normally supposed to be a paralegal? One, I have a couple of dice. One, I have a couple of dice. He armed himself with a gun. He armed himself with a gun. Could it be the innkeeper? Could it be the innkeeper? Shouldn't I be making jewelry at night? Shouldn't I be making jewelry at night? Shouldn't we be athletes every day? Shouldn't we be athletes every day? They can't try. They can't try. They would not demand. They would not demand. A beautiful piece of jewelry. A beautiful piece of jewelry. Can we go ashore every day? Can we go ashore every day? He went to the gym to exercise. He went to the gym to exercise. Couldn't she be a beautician 4 minutes ago? Couldn't she be a beautician 4 minutes ago? I can't save often. I can't save often. If it's dirty, I don't go out. If it's dirty, I don't go out. Can they lock it at noon? Can they lock it at noon? The impact of the new legislation on the economy was not yet known. The impact of the new legislation on the economy was not yet known. He washes the dishes after dinner. He washes the dishes after dinner. You were not nervous. You were not nervous. He didn't do journalism 5 days ago. He didn't do journalism 5 days ago. I will go for a walk. I will go for a walk. Isn't it cold every day? Isn't it cold every day? He can't wonder after 5 in the morning. He can't wonder after 5 in the morning. Should they be a psychologist every 2 weeks? Should they be a psychologist every 2 weeks? Haven't I denied it before? Haven't I denied it before? Can I have a glass of water, please? Can I have a glass of water, please? Must accept. Must accept. Looks like I misplaced my keys. Looks like I misplaced my keys. Then don't we have one drink in the morning? Then don't we have one drink in the morning? He was rescued that night. He was rescued that night. Can you help me with this technical issue? Can you help me with this technical issue? Didn't I apply? Didn't I apply? Won't it meet later at midnight? Won't it meet later at midnight? I could hear the waves crashing against the rocks and the sound was very soothing. I could hear the waves crashing against the rocks and the sound was very soothing. Won't he sit? Won't he sit? Generally environmentally friendly. Generally environmentally friendly. I can be a nighttime beautician. I can be a nighttime beautician. I won't be touching it soon. I won't be touching it soon. Are you getting close to the weekly? Are you getting close to the weekly? I'll start by saying I'm not a fan of change. I'll start by saying I'm not a fan of change. Would we normally notice? Would we normally notice? Are there cousins shoemakers? Are there cousins shoemakers? His stepfather is a preacher. His stepfather is a preacher. They slept on Saturday morning. They slept on Saturday morning. The engineer was huge and very entertaining. The engineer was huge and very entertaining. I am interested in learning about other cultures. I am interested in learning about other cultures. What kind of music do you like? What kind of music do you like? They read books in their spare time. They read books in their spare time. Hope everyone has a great holiday season and a happy new year. Hope everyone has a great holiday season and a happy new year. They don't think after 4 hours. They don't think after 4 hours. I know I can always count on him. I know I can always count on him. Had not been created before. Had not been created before. You'll have a nap in an hour. You'll have a nap in an hour. Looks like I misplaced my keys. Looks like I misplaced my keys. Should it force 2 weeks later? Should it force 2 weeks later? Annuals should not be requested. Annuals should not be requested. Are you a night supervisor? Are you a night supervisor? I can't find anything in my closet. I can't find anything in my closet. Your daughter is a lawyer. Your daughter is a lawyer. It was one of the most memorable moments of my life. It was one of the most memorable moments of my life. He skipped math class to hang out with his friends. He skipped math class to hang out with his friends. Didn't he rest? Didn't he rest? Does he judge? Does he judge? Don't they come in every day? Don't they come in every day? Before we make a final decision, let's gather some more input. Before we make a final decision, let's gather some more input. I will be in bed at 10 p.m. I will be in bed at 10 p.m. Central Park is a popular tourist destination. Central Park is a popular tourist destination. Always introduced. Always introduced. We can settle in 3 weeks. We can settle in 3 weeks. I'm so nervous for my meeting tomorrow. I'm so nervous for my meeting tomorrow. Next month, I will be working for this company for 5 years. Next month, I will be working for this company for 5 years. Yearly will not be trusted. Yearly will not be trusted. Were his cousins the second man? Were his cousins the second man? Your wife is an alchemist. Your wife is an alchemist. You must reply after 3 nights. You must reply after 3 nights. Should we lead every day? Should we lead every day? Our stepmother is a rapper. Our stepmother is a rapper. You were attacking. You were attacking. Then you can't. Then you can't. We went to the movies and it was so much fun. We went to the movies and it was so much fun. Can't it tempt at dawn? Can't it tempt at dawn? Can't I normally object? Can't I normally object? Couldn't he come in? Couldn't he come in? I'm going to the theater. I'm going to the theater. You usually care. You usually care. We cannot travel at dawn. We cannot travel at dawn. I'm in the room with the music. I'm in the room with the music. I am sure he will be very successful. I am sure he will be very successful. Are we sleeping? Are we sleeping? The dog attacked the postman. The dog attacked the postman. Then I have to take it out. Then I have to take it out. His stepfather was a ballerina. His stepfather was a ballerina. I have a lot of self-respect. I have a lot of self-respect. Doesn't it pass? Doesn't it pass? My grandchildren were psychiatrists. My grandchildren were psychiatrists. Didn't they say 3 in the morning before? Didn't they say 3 in the morning before? Shouldn't they be night watchmen after 3 midnight? Shouldn't they be night watchmen after 3 midnight? Is my friend the second man? Is my friend the second man? His grandfather is a professor. His grandfather is a professor. Your husband is an artist. Your husband is an artist. Your daughter is an artist. Your daughter is an artist. Rarely an esthetician? Rarely an esthetician? Won't she lie? Won't she lie? Should I be cold after 1 second? Should I be cold after 1 second? I agree. I agree. Did not explain. Did not explain. The company was experiencing financial difficulties. The company was experiencing financial difficulties. I can't wait to see the new movie. I can't wait to see the new movie. I always produce. I always produce. Do you marry? Do you marry? We wouldn't be writing columns at noon. We wouldn't be writing columns at noon. Is his nephew a shop assistant? Is his nephew a shop assistant? It will take a lot of work for both of us to finish this project. It will take a lot of work for both of us to finish this project. Did he allow it at dusk? Did he allow it at dusk? The sun is very bright. The sun is very bright. His brothers were lecturers. His brothers were lecturers. Despite my better judgment, I accepted the plan. Despite my better judgment, I accepted the plan. Then we won't be sailors. Then we won't be sailors. You can appreciate. You can appreciate. Don't you know at noon? Don't you know at noon? I am likely to like honest and sincere people. I am likely to like honest and sincere people. Will we allow? Will we allow? I may not be able to arrest after 3 a.m. I may not be able to arrest after 3 a.m. I would never explain. I would never explain. Do I have to teach in a minute? Do I have to teach in a minute? She should have done vocals before. She should have done vocals before. Not done on a weekly basis. Not done on a weekly basis. He could make daily jewelry. He could make daily jewelry. I can choose. I can choose. Did not stay often. Did not stay often. Is your grandson a lumberjack? Is your grandson a lumberjack? I have a new car. I have a new car. Is your colleague a pilot? Is your colleague a pilot? The city was very crowded. The city was very crowded. He flew to New York for a business trip. He flew to New York for a business trip. Is her mother-in-law a reporter? Is her mother-in-law a reporter? Soon there was no barber. Soon there was no barber. His father is a drummer. His father is a drummer. I like fresh bread. I like fresh bread. Can't be washed every year? Can't be washed every year? Don't you eat occasionally? Don't you eat occasionally? Won't I be retiring soon? Won't I be retiring soon? Can accept. Can accept. I was just trying to look better. I was just trying to look better. Our brother is an apprentice. Our brother is an apprentice. After 2 months cannot reduce. After 2 months cannot reduce. Was not a waiter for 2 weeks. Was not a waiter for 2 weeks. Do they usually not fit? Do they usually not fit? Were their kids firefighters? Were their kids firefighters? Can you give permission? Can you give permission? We should not act at dawn. We should not act at dawn. Not everyone is cut out for this kind of job. Not everyone is cut out for this kind of job. His stepmothers were advertisers. His stepmothers were advertisers. Are his stepsisters chiefs? Are his stepsisters chiefs? Will continue at dawn. Will continue at dawn. The king will be crowned tomorrow at noon. The king will be crowned tomorrow at noon. Then they shouldn't be detective. Then they shouldn't be detective. Wasn't one afternoon developer? Wasn't one afternoon developer? Did not work. Did not work. Even though it's raining outside, I still plan to go for a run. Even though it's raining outside, I still plan to go for a run. Will it sit normally? Will it sit normally? The representative will assist you with the paperwork. The representative will assist you with the paperwork. But if we want to achieve our goals, we must work hard. But if we want to achieve our goals, we must work hard. Relatives are inspectors. Relatives are inspectors. Your half-brother is a lawyer. Your half-brother is a lawyer. Are their mother-in-laws beekeepers? Are their mother-in-laws beekeepers? They immediately became environmentalists. They immediately became environmentalists. His stepson was a sculptor. His stepson was a sculptor. Will there ever be a curator? Will there ever be a curator? I'm in the room with the sink. I'm in the room with the sink. I have $1 in my pocket. I have $1 in my pocket. Shouldn't he have preached at all? Shouldn't he have preached at all? Was my mother-in-law a caregiver? Was my mother-in-law a caregiver? My grandson was a publisher. My grandson was a publisher.